Yeah. Bert, I don't think since Trump's insurrection on the Capitol have we had a pop culture moment bigger than Will Smith storming the Oscar stage and slapping Chris Rock across the face.
Yeah. I mean, everybody just acted like they saw a titty at the halftime of a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Damn, we should probably do that at some point. Let's go ahead and rank like the most shocking moments. I think Kanye telling
Kanye
the
Taylor
world
Swift.
that. Well, no, yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Kanye, you've been crazy for a long time. Like, I was actually going to say the Kanye Katrina Bush doesn't care about black people. That. I mean, like if we only knew that was just the beginning of Kanye West just being ridiculous. You know, I mean, there's a lot I want to get to in sports, but that, I mean, if you've been living under a rock, no pun intended for Chris Rock, like that is crazy. And if I was Chris Rock, I would have continued the joke of saying, man, that slap hurt so hard, I'll be feeling it until August.
Sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. I am the Facebook felon. Yes, back in Facebook jail. 28 days removed. That is the prettier crew. Bert, what's up, bro?
Dude, it's so good. It's good to see you. For those that follow us on social, Germ and I, we didn't have a show last week. I was doing some traveling for work. Luckily, it brought me to the same area where Germ is located. We were able to catch a Hurricanes game. I brought Germ to his first hockey experience. How did you like that, by the way?
I loved it. It was you know, it's one of those, everybody says when you go to an event, it's different than watching it on TV. But like I was shocked of how engaged I was in the game because there was really nonstop action. Hockey, like it's again, I guess you could say the same about baseball. Like there's more action than you think on TV. I don't know if it's commercials. I don't know what it is. But in hockey, I mean, there was I felt like every play something was going to happen, and I was really into it.
Yeah, well, luckily the woman and I'm assuming her husband that was sitting next to us, they were super awesome. The building was filled with Ranger fans, much like myself, which I was actually somewhat shocked to see. But it's a good night for my Rangers. I mean, look, the Hurricanes played well. The Rangers just kind of got lucky on this one. I mean, geez, the Canes over 40 shots, and you know, Georgiev
They took twice as many shots as the Canes took almost twice as many shots, if not a little bit more than the
very
Rangers.
strong playing by the goalie. I think the highlight of that whole night wasn't Germ getting angry at other sports fans for rooting about sports. We had these guys behind us who you would have thought bought tickets to watch a hockey game, but talk about anything else under the sun. And I've never seen Germ. I've seen Germ get mad when people like, you know, when we were at the Yanks Mets game, the 9/11 game, and some dudes were talking trash. There were Yankee fans around you. And there's a difference between playfully talking trash and then digging. And these dudes were digging. And Germ let them know, like, hey, what you're doing, not good, except in worse language.
Phil, what's up, man? Yeah, if there was any confusion that my on-air persona and my real-life persona are somehow different, they're not at all. I am the same exact way in real life.
So
I let the guys at the Yankee game were wildly disrespectful. I let them know. The guys at the hockey game, I said, hey, guys, nice game we're having. It'd be nice if we could actually watch it. And they left for like a period and a half.
I think at least halfway through the first period. And the woman next to us, I mean, she up and down was just like, I can't believe this is going on behind us. And she's season ticket holder. So these must have been you guys that just bought the tickets and just didn't feel like watching the hockey game. But I think the breaking point for Germ is when these two guys, and when I say they were discussing anything under the sun, it was everything from like what they ordered at White Castle one time, and then what made Germ snap his head around and say, like, you guys need to knock it off, is when they said that the new Spider-Man movie was better than the new Batman movie. He turned around and he said, I've listened to you say some pretty crazy things over the past couple of minutes, none of which is related to the sporting event we're at. But I draw the line at you saying Spider-Man was better than Batman.
Yeah, that was the exact line. I mean, they were talking about waste management and Formula One racing and White Castle, and then but to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, the Spider-Man movie was better than the new Robert Pattinson Batman movie," I had enough. I was like, "All right, guys, it was cute, but now it's time to knock it off." And yeah, that was it. Other than that, though, I mean, me and Bert, we walked around. I don't know if they call it the concourse, whatever the whole,
Yeah, we can call it concourse. Yeah,
concourse. Grabbed some beers. I got me a Hurricane Canes hat, which I planned on wearing on the show, but in the spirit of Jada Pinkett, I said, you know what? I'm going to rock my baldness. I'm not overly sensitive about it like she is, and apparently Will Smith is, even though he's not bald.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later.
What is the brew we had that the Canes do?
So shout out to the Raleigh Brewing Company. The Hurricanes are the first, and it's funny that that happened, because now you're hearing that the 76ers are going to have a limited edition, I guess, like a summer like a summer brew or whatever. And I believe another team that Mike was showing us in the group chat. But the Canes for over a year now have had their own special brew. Now it is a light beer, but it is still like a
storm brew.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's like a citrus light beer.
It was good, man. It was
really good.
Real good, and it was cheap too. For stadium beers, I think it was like $6. I don't know what it was, but it was cheap. It was in a tall can. Couldn't beat it.
Yeah, Hurricanes from the Raleigh Brewing Company. You can go on their website if you live out of market and order it. It's pretty good. I'll make sure I get Bert sent some. But yeah, it was a nice time. So appreciate you, brother, for inviting me. It was good hanging out with you.
Man, I'm glad we were in the same vicinity. You made a 2-hour drive to come see me and join me for the game. So I appreciate you for doing that. And look, anytime we can get together, and more importantly, we can get together and actually do sports stuff. Yeah. Especially after a year and a half of not being able to do sports anything, I'm going to try to do as much as possible.
Big time. All right, so to actual sports, but before we get to the shenanigans, a lot of big moves. I was looking at the AFC West roster of teams, and the takeaway I had, Bert, was that the AFC West this year may be the greatest division of football history. I don't think there's ever been these 4 teams could make the playoffs, and not all 4 of them will. One of them's not going to make the playoffs, and they probably will have 11 plus wins, which is insane. So led me to the question. The Chiefs have ran away with this division for the last couple seasons. Are they still the best team right now to you in the AFC West?
Oof. No, I can't say that they are. Especially letting Tyreek Hill go to the Dolphins of all things, and really not. I mean, certainly some future picks they got back for him, but you've seen that they're kind of slowly bleeding and slowly fading, and I mean, we saw that through the postseason this past year. But with the moves that, like, say, the Broncos are doing, getting Russ and even the Raiders too. And the Chargers, I can't recall if they've made any big offseason moves, but knowing that they were such a contender last year too, I mean, it's going to be a toss-up. This is going to be a very, very close division, and certainly one to watch too. I think it also depends on if Russell Wilson can get in and gel with the Broncos. New coach, new front office. Let's see what happens there, and if they do good things. But if he's the athlete I think he is, I think he's going to make things happen for them.
Phil Bartley says Chiefs are still kings of the AFC West till either the Chargers or the Raiders can knock them off.
So we go by, okay, I see what Phil is saying. So listen, they're the ones that have proven that they've done it before, so they have to be knocked off.
To be the man, you got to beat the man type of thing. I'm with that. The problem is in football, that's hard because there's so much movement between other teams. I don't believe that, okay, just because you did it last year means you're the team to beat this year. Bert, you mentioned the Chargers. That was actually my team. To me, that is the best because they did actually make some moves. They just made it in the defensive side. They traded for Khalil Mack, and they brought in J.C. Jackson, the star defensive back from the New England Patriots. The one thing about the Chargers was their offense obviously is explosive. They kept Mike Williams. They got Keenan Allen. They're going to get their running backs back. but their defense fell apart at the end of the year. To me, you get two really high-end defensive players to supplement a good defense. I wouldn't say great. They probably went from average to above average. And with Khalil Mack's a beast of rusher, and then you have somebody that is in the backfield, in the defensive backfield. So I'm looking at the Chargers to being the best team in the AFC West. We're going to learn a lot about Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City and Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill made a lot of things possible for that team because you had to account for his speed. That's not there no more. Juju Smith-Schuster doesn't exactly move the needle for me. He doesn't excite me.
Yeah, he kind of had a
the
down year
Raiders have
last
the best
year,
shot. Yeah. The Raiders, they got to fix their offensive line for me to even Devontae Adams is great. They overpaid for him. Again, Bert, I don't believe in paying for skill players or overpaying. And the Dolphins just did it. and now, which is why it's probably not going to work out for them.
They didn't, not only did they just do it, they gave up their future to do it. And look, the receiving position wasn't necessarily the thing that needed to be most improved on that team. Which I think is one of the biggest takeaways, and a lot of Dolphins fans are frustrated at, is like, yeah, we can bring this receiver, but that all depends on whether or not Tua can fucking reach him. So
they signed Teddy Bridgewater. There's a lot of people thinking that Teddy's going to take over that team in short order. The Raiders, I don't know what else they got. I don't know. It looked really good at the beginning of the year, and then they fell apart. And to me, they fell apart more than a Devontae Adams signing. So we'll see. I'm looking at the Chargers, and again, you can't sleep on the Broncos. They have a really good defense. The thing that was holding them back, they didn't have a quarterback, and now they have a quarterback. I need to know before I say the Broncos if we're getting the real Russell Wilson or the Russell Wilson we've seen the last couple of years struggling, to make the plays in Seattle. So
he's got a fresh start there. I think excuse me, I think he's going to come into his own and really do his thing, to be honest with you. I think that relationship between him and Pete Carroll soured over the past couple of years. Obviously we knew the defense in Seattle was a large part of why they won that Super Bowl, but I do still think that he was not being used the right way towards the tail end, and I don't know if they just gave up on him, but I think he'll find new life in a new home.
So we're talking about the moves in the AFC West. So let's open it up to the rest of the NFL. Bert, what was the best move to you of the entire NFL offseason?
To me, honestly, I think the Russ move was probably one of the best ones, especially for Denver. I know we just spoke about it, and I hate to beat a dead horse here, but when you look at everything else, that's the one that certainly stand out the most. The most recent ones, and I think the Aaron Rodgers signing, we talked about it, was trash. Why pay that man that much money for 4 years? Tom Brady coming back, why not? The tip we talked about, Tyreek Hill, and certainly an overpaying on the Dolphins end of things. But in terms of most value and where someone's going to do probably the most good for me, I think Russ has the biggest potential. A lot of people can go with Adams with the Raiders and say, okay, we'll see what happens with Derek Carr. But when I'm thinking skill players, that's kind of where my head is at.
I'm going to be a total homer here. And I'm going to definitely say Von Miller to the Buffalo Bills. And I think I would have said that even if I wasn't a Bills fan, for this simple reason. The Bills got the maximum return for a team that is close to winning a Super Bowl. So, Russ going to the Broncos is great, but they weren't really close to making it to the Super Bowl. So Russ may make them Super Bowl contenders. The Bills were already Super Bowl contenders. They were 13 seconds away. Because I think me, you, and pretty much everybody else in the world would assume that they would have beaten, the Bengals in the next round, and then the Niners and or Rams. So it's when I look at, okay, which team was the closest, and then who did they get to help them get even closer? So the Bills were on the 5-yard line, and then they made a 50-yard play. You know what I'm saying? They were just right there on the end zone, but they went to the nosebleeds. And I think that's why I would choose Von Miller, and it also fit need that they need to win. They needed an extra pass rusher. They needed somebody extra to help them with Patrick Mahomes, getting to him before Tyreek Hill tired out our linebackers, before Travis Kelce outran some of our defensive backs. We needed somebody else to help us. And and we got that now. So I think he is the most impactful free agent move so far.
I mean, for the Bills, I mean, they according to today, the biggest offseason move was also the fact that now overtime and playoffs include both possessions by both teams, or at least what pointed out.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this a little later, but the gist of it is that both teams will have the opportunity to possess the ball in overtime. Now, we'll get to this later. It's only in the postseason. If a score is tied after each game, if the score's tied after each team has possessed the ball, the next score wins, which means that's true sudden death. That means a field goal can win the game. Not a fan of that.
No.
That kind of just brings us back to where we are. You know what I mean?
I'll never understand. Stop me if you want to save this for later, but I'll never understand why they don't just say, hey, you know what? 7 minutes. Or even just play a whole other quarter at that sense. We'll play another quarter until there's a definitive winner. Do what every other sport does in the playoffs. Hockey, you have normal 5-on-5 20-minute periods. Basketball, same thing. Normal quarter until you just keep playing it out until there's a winner. That's what separates the boys from men in this situation. Yeah. You have to put your fatigue out there. You have to just get out. You have to get in that anything possible mindset and play the game through and through. None of this tick for tap bullshit. Let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, it's really stupid. I don't like the fact that it's postseason only. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. I know that the extra extended period gained a lot of momentum in the owners meetings, but somebody cried player safety, and that's all you got to do, which is a joke to me. They're millionaires; they'll be all right. They can play football. So,
what about Matt Ryan going to the Colts? Man, that was a good move for him.
I flirted with that one, but it would go against me saying what I've been saying about Matt Ryan being Hall of Very Good.
Very good. Yeah.
So I can't just all of a sudden be like, yeah, Matt Ryan's the guy. Now,
Mitch Trubisky to the Pittsburgh. Forgot about that one. Saints re-signing Jameis.
And a good thing for the Saints, Taysom Hill is going to accept that he's probably a tight end, and he's going to do more tight end work, which works really good for him, and that's going to work really good for the Saints because they can still use him in his Swiss Army knife role. I mean, I could imagine some sweeps where Jameis just kind of, Taysom runs behind Jameis, and then Taysom Hill can throw the ball. Yep. I'm not saying he's Joe Montana, but to act like he can't throw the ball is nuts. So if you can get some type of trick play and you have Michael Thomas, who's probably going to return, or some of their other speedy receivers, get a one-on-one opportunity, I would trust Taysom Hill to launch the ball far enough to give that receiver a shot. I think that would work for them. But Matt Ryan is definitely a good one. Phil chimes in and says the best move is where Baker Mayfield ends up. If Baker would have ended up in the Colts, I would have loved that. That would have been great for Baker. I also think Miami right now, as constructed, would be better. Baker would be better than Tua and Teddy in Miami. I agree. Yeah, that would make me as a Bills fan scared. I'd be like, damn, I would get nervous for that because I think Baker's going to end up being Alex Smith in a sense of where he had so much crap he had to deal with in his first years consecutively in Cleveland, like Alex Smith had to do in San Francisco. The moment Baker gets with a stable franchise, with a stable coach, like let's say Mike Tomlin, and not that I'm rooting against my guy Money Mitch, but put Baker in a situation like that, Baker can win you a lot of games. So the problem is for Baker, there's not many spots left for him. Seattle, I would love to see Baker go to Seattle. I don't know. Apparently the guys really like Drew Lock out there already. Who knows?
I mean, Drew's been around for so long. Why not? I don't see Baker in Seattle though. I don't know why. I do like the idea of him in Miami. When people were texting where to go, I would have taken him on the Giants. I would. 1,000%. I know the Jets would probably take him too. Yeah. So I mean, there's options out there, but it's just,
I would hate for Baker. Going. I like Baker Mayfield. I would hate for him to go to, no offense, Oh no, you're a Giants fan. I would hate for
Yeah.
him to go to New York Jets. I think
Yeah.
he would do all right with New York Giants because you guys have all the Bills people now.
Yeah.
I think I would be. I think if that didn't happen, I wouldn't like that either. It just seems like the New York markets, they're the fake New York markets, the Jets and the Giants, the New Jersey teams,
The New Jersey,
seem
the New
bad
Jersey
for
Giants. Yep.
the Jersey Giants and the Jersey Jets are bad for quarterbacks. So, but we
Tough
can
market.
definitely get to it. Play a little. I like this move,
Mm-hmm.
Bert. Let's start with the overtime rule.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like it or no?
No. No.
Yes, that is the right answer. The overtime rule is awful, and it's not, and I don't like it because it's not the overtime rule we should have.
No.
Uh, each team having a possession is great, but for why have it just for the postseason? Have it
Mm-hmm.
for all the season. Have it
Yeah.
for all season. Every game is important in the NFL. I know they added an extra game, but every game is important. What if you have a situation like the AFC West where every game actually does matter for them, and it's the last game of the season, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes into overtime, and the difference of the Raiders and the Chargers getting into the playoffs, and you have the BS overtime rule that we don't like, and we're in the situation that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were in. And that, like, it doesn't make sense. An extra period, or just keep going back and forth. With the thing. I giving a team a possession is cool, but to say, oh, if they both score, then it's really sudden death. Why not just possession for possession?
Yeah.
Just why not? Like, ending a game in a field goal should not happen. Like, the endings. If they said the ending, if both teams are tied after the one possession and the other team scores a touchdown first,
Yeah.
I would be with that. I would
Mm-hmm.
be more with that than any old score, which
Mm-hmm.
which is a field goal. I would be more okay. Hey, you got to score a touchdown. It's like the old pickup rules, Bert. Hey, win by 2. You have to win by
Exactly.
2.
Yep.
That's what this is. No, you have to win by a touchdown. Like, you have to score a touchdown. If you score a touchdown, there is no extra point. There is no nothing. You score the touchdown, you win. Be done with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I just I just don't like it because I would rather see like more possessions. I'd rather see a whole other quarter, to be honest with you. I want to see a team that's not only, can last, has the longevity, but also has the football mind and the great coaching skills to be able to do that too. I mean, I never liked the fact that, all right, well, if I get the ball first and I kick a field goal, like, I win. I always thought that was weird and unfair. And I mean, now that we've enhanced the game so much, it just seems right to just do this any other way. But then, yeah, like, why just leave it for the playoffs? It makes zero sense. You said it right. Every game matters. No game should be ending in a tie. Donovan McNabb didn't even know a game could end in a tie. He had no idea.
Yeah.
So, and that was how many years ago? So, I mean, there's something else has to be changed.
The Detroit Lions being on this year's Hard Knocks.
I like this. Weren't they on last year's too, or am I completely turned around?
No, they weren't on there last year. I think it was the Cowboys last year.
Okay, I guess it felt like it because Dan Campbell every week was had something going on with that team, so we were covering it. But oh yeah, I like this move. Like that,
I like this move.
We saw them in the resiliency through the last season, and I want to see what Dan does in second year with the team. And obviously, he cares about the team crying in press conferences and shit we haven't seen before at all. So I want to get a peek and see what goes on behind closed doors and how crazy that man really is.
So Hard Knocks has been kind of a clown show lately in terms of the teams that, like, they do the Falcons. Nobody cares about the Falcons. I think they did the Browns when they were like, it was just like when who's that fat slob Freddie Kitchens was like,
the Browns, yeah.
And then they had the Cowboys, which is a clown show too. Like, it's just a bunch of dudes being spoiled. But this, I will watch this because there's a couple of different things happening here. You said it. Dan Campbell has invested so much in this Lions organization. He's made us like pseudo Lions fans because we want them to do well. Like, we want them to do well because of Dan Campbell. The guy wanted a real line at practice. I'm watching for that. Episode 1 better have a real line at the practice because Dan Campbell can make it happen. I would definitely. And the Lions, they're buying in for the first time in forever. They were so competitive. They didn't win a lot of games because their roster isn't good, but they're turning a quarter. They were competitive in most of their games. Even if they lost, it wasn't like the same old Lions. It just, they're turning a corner, and I want to see what that process is like inside now that they've had the season they had, where I think players are really truly buying in. I want to see what that looks like as a team, as a coach who is trying to get people to kind of roll with him and let him take over the team. So next one, New York City changing their COVID mandates so now home players can play in the games.
I mean, look, obviously I like this move, but I will say this is like, it takes big money to move the needle. Now, you want to know how things get done in politics and why so many large companies endorse different politicians, because they get shit done for what that company needs. So in Major League Baseball, the game that's played outside has star power and star players, and you have owner like Steve Cohen, who's worth
this move,
$23 billion, just him. And from an ownership and MLB standpoint, him alone is worth that versus other teams that are owned by several partners or several partnering companies. Look, they lobbied and got it done, where this was huge for anybody who lives outside the New York and the tri-state area. This is huge. They went and said anybody in the private sector must be vaccinated if you're headquartered in New York City. And everybody, companies, whether you're related to sports or not, had to do it. And now they're turning back saying, nope, we're going to make the exception for professional athletes. So this is obviously turning some heads politically, but man, I'm happy because I could see some of my favorite players. I didn't care whether they were vaccinated or not. I just wanted to see them play, because at this point in this pandemic, who gives a shit? You can get vaccinated and still get it. So it doesn't matter. My rant's done. Sorry.
No, I loved it because it led me. Mike says to Uncle Stevie, aka Money Bags.
Money bags.
And we ain't going to forget Mr. Hal Steinbrenner. Kyrie Irving. You thought you and your little Indian worshiping afro was going to get it done in the NBA, buddy. You take your weird ass out of here. You ain't got the clout that the baseball fans do. Baseball is big dollars. And Uncle Stevie,
what it was, man. Like they didn't like
Hal,
Kyrie or something.
Because again, it's the same reason we don't cover like tennis and golf on not just this show, but like all the major sports shows. It just, there's not a market for it, right? There's not, people aren't as invested in talking about it, so we don't cover it as much. Basketball is such a niche thing. Like it makes money, I guess, but baseball makes money. Like it's and you have, if the Knicks were better and Brooklyn didn't have, and I mean, I guess a lot of the Brooklyn problems were the Kyrie Irving not being able to be there, but the Knicks still outsell anything Brooklyn does, no matter how good Brooklyn is.
Yeah,
the Madison Square Garden, the Knicks are where it's at. With baseball, though, the Mets and Yankees are two historic franchises, and they both happen to be really, they happen to be good right now. And there's a race for New York, and you can't miss out on that because there are very, very few stars in baseball, like superstars, and the Mets and Yankees have a couple of them. So you can't leave that. You can't mess that up. That baseball money is way too important. The game, it's a longer season. Basketball is almost over. It just doesn't work. Don't downplay basketball, because the cool part about basketball is that players can market themselves.
That's not what. Yeah, I agree. We're not arguing that. It's, I mean, it's a matter of moving.
And yet, right. You say that, and yet baseball, like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, they can market themselves. The superstars in basketball are bigger because they don't wear masks. There's few of them on the field of play, so you get to know them better. But Aaron Judge makes more money than 90% of the New York basketball teams, I would say. He's worth more to that franchise.
Yeah.
He's worth more than Kevin Durant.
You know what I mean? We're about to pay him.
He's about to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one you could argue is Kevin Durant, but I would love to see what Kevin Durant can bring in versus what Juan Carlos Stanton does, considering what he's paid. Pete Alonso's about to get the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jacob deGrom means more. Like it just, I don't know. There's just more money in baseball. It's hard to argue what basketball does because listen, if basketball, was that dude on the block, the mayor would have changed the rules. The mayor was getting slammed all season for Kyrie Irving. The moment baseball showed up, now we give Rob Manfred a lot of, we get on him a little bit, but he said, "Hey, mayor, enough now, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, it's baseball time." So, shout out to the Steinbrenner and Cohen. All right, Bert. NFL says teams must add a minority offensive coach and expands the Rooney Rule to include women.
Yeah, like this move.
I like this move.
It's necessary. I mean, obviously, there with everything that happened, especially with Brian Flores and the whole debacle there, and it just proved that the Rooney Rule isn't enough. And we've known this for years, but I think by saying you must have, it means you're putting individuals of color in those positions so that they can grow. And hopefully, fingers crossed, the goal is to move to head coaching positions. And by putting more of them in those positions, you're hedging your bet and having more of them be good candidates for head coaching jobs. Now, I say that because I'm an optimist most of the time. But I mean, Brian Flores was a winning head coach and found out he didn't get a job before he even interviewed for it. So obviously you're still going to face shit everywhere. But when it comes down to this, I think it's the right move by the NFL, making sure they're putting the right type of system in play to make sure everybody gets that fair shot of growth.
So for me, I when I looked at it, I was like, man, that feels bad. It feels wrong. Like, but
it feels
you're
forced,
right.
But it
does feel forced.
Yeah.
But that's where I ended up. It has to be like this because the hope is the reason why there's not enough minority head coaches. Most of these head coaches come from offensive fields, right? The offensive side of the field. But if minorities aren't getting that opportunity, they're not going to be minority head coaches.
Nope.
So what do? You have to make them make an offense. And nobody's saying they have to be the offensive coordinator. They can start at the running backs coach or the offensive line coach or the quarterbacks coach, work their way, let them, again, like you said, prove that they can do a good job. Same thing with the women. They're not forcing teams to hire women, but you at least have to interview them. So you'll get those token women interviews but the goal is you have to allow them in the door. You can't let them to the door because that hasn't worked. You have to let them in the door and let them figure it out. There's no reason, especially in this day and age, if a woman knows football, she knows football.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But don't give us this BS line that she wasn't the most qualified. So no woman's qualified over some of these idiots that we see coaching every week. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I talk to women on the regular on Instagram that know so much about football. We're watching them every day on ESPN. You said what?
Talking to a lot of women on Instagram there.
No. So
just funny. No, dude, but to your point, like you're right, and I got to be honest with you. I mean, so far, track record of women coaches in the NFL that have not done stupid shit versus Urban Meyer's entire coaching staff last year.
I mean, yeah.
Jesus. I mean, like, let's go. If they know football, let them in. So you let into it. I'll expand upon it in the fact that, yes, it feels forced, but to the same point, like, we need this because otherwise you're going to have coaches like Urban who just sit there and hire old college friends and coaching staff that happen to be white just like him, who come in and do absolutely nothing and get paid for it, and taking that opportunity away from someone else who actually wants to do a good job. So
for sure. All right. Enough sports. Well, we're going to stick to sports kind of.
Yeah.
Bert.
We want to talk about what everybody's talking about.
Hell yeah. Now, I want to know. We saw what happened at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Will Smith making the entire thing about him and his wife and his toxic marriage.
Yeah. And then all of Hollywood giving him a standing ovation after he just watched him assault a man. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And then use love as the excuse.
Oh God, yeah. He wants to be a vessel for love only after I smack the shit out of someone else on stage.
Ray Rice also said he does crazy things for love. So we should give him a pass too, apparently, according to
the NFL almost did, by the way.
Twitter, what they tried, right? They tried.
Yeah.
But all you Twitter idiots out there congratulating Will Smith for sticking up for his woman.
Bro.
Ridiculous. Enough. So, but then I thought about it. Those same people that were trying to get Will Smith to make him the new Oscar statue, I thought they were just going to bronze him and gold him up right then and there, Bert. Those same people wanted Juwan Howard to get fired.
Yeah.
When he felt disrespected. Now, I get it. Juwan Howard didn't hit the guy who disrespected him, but it brought me back to who slaps better? Whose slap did you enjoy more? Was it Will Smith or was it Juwan Howard?
So they were both entirely different types of slaps.
Yes.
I'll say, here's the Juwan one, it was emotions elevated by what happened on the court that he felt wronged by, right? And then what took it to the next level was when you get a crowd of people around you, when you're already heated, like telling you not to do something or backing away, it just makes you want to do it even more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately for
Juwan, a little bit of chirping and a little bit of chirping.
Too. Yeah, chirping back and forth. And then he just decided to go for that smack no matter what. He went for it and he didn't connect as cleanly as Will Smith. Will Smith got a pass because I think Chris Rock didn't think he was going to do anything like serious. Like I don't know if he thought he was going to joke around, but like he walked calmly up to him, planted his 2 feet. And I'll give him credit. That boxing training from Ali paid off, man, because you didn't see that man raise his hand. He went from the side and then just a clean smack.
Yeah.
So Will got the better hit off, but that's because there was nothing in the way, not even security or anybody else saying, "Hey, I don't think you should be doing that." So I'm going to say Will, but only by nature of what was happening. I still don't think you should have done. This is so stupid. Like this whole Will Smith thing is so dumb.
Frank Novick, John Wayne Gacy was in love too. Hey, listen. Hey, all those people. Hey, you know what? It sounds bad, but I'm with it because if you want to play that game, love makes you do crazy things. Say that to all the battered women in the hospitals and the dudes using that excuse. Like, and that's my issue with a lot of these things that we end up talking about. You're picking and choosing when they're viable based if you like the person or not.
Oh yeah.
In any other market, you wouldn't accept assault.
No.
Will Smith is a 53-year-old man who acted like a 16-year-old. And his wife, who nobody's embarrassed Will Smith more than his own damn wife.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And all you other idiots out there, me and this girl, I'm not even going to say her name because she's a friend of mine. But we had a heated argument on Facebook before I went to jail. And she said it's none of our business. Nobody made it our business. She made it our business.
Yeah.
Their family made it our business. She emasculated Will Smith for clicks on her stupid ass Red Table show. And she took his manhood and he hasn't heard the end of it since then.
Correct.
Bert, I don't know about you.
But he's also, I mean, look,
No, he's a simp. He's a simp.
But he's also to blame for this mess too. Let's get real. And like anybody who says, well, it's their business, we shouldn't be involved. If you're voluntarily recording something and then editing it and putting it out there, unless this was videotaped on a cell phone and wasn't meant to be seen by anybody, you're right. That in that case would be none of our business. They produced something to share about what happened in their personal life to get views, to get clicks, to get their name out there. When was the last time Jada even worked like in acting, by the way? And granted, she's keeping busy staying relevant. I do still think she's working harder than any Kardashian has ever done. But to say that it's none of our business is ridiculous because in entertainment, you produced it, you put it out to us. It's our business. It's the same reason why when the Kardashians cry, why does this stuff always happen to us? Because every moment of your life is taped and it's out there for everybody else to prey upon. This is the age we live in now. When we were kids growing up with social media and we were taught, hey, don't put your address out there or don't put anything out there because people will, bad people could follow you and stalk you and find out. They still tell girls at colleges and college party, like, don't do this because people can stalk you. That's bad. And here we are having celebrities monopolize it to a sense and then sit here and wonder, like, why do bad things happen to me? This is why. I mean, come on, you've got to get out of here. Oh, that's right. She was in Gotham and she was actually pretty good in that show. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she was acting like herself. Yeah. Bert, this entire situation has got to be messier than Jada Pinkett's shower drain.
It's ridiculous.
That's the other thing, though. Hey, all you people out there, poor Jada. Chris Rock's making fun of her medical condition.
Yeah,
she has alopecia, guys. I don't care if you knew. She doesn't have cancer. She's been bald for years. And little known fact, guys, she's rich. If she wanted to cover it up, Angelina Jolie had breast cancer, like a real something real that is really traumatizing, and she got work to help with her image. Jada Pinkett, go get a wig and shut the hell up. Like, you act like you have people act like she has cancer, and
I mean,
you're triggered by a GI Jane. Hey, Demi Moore was hot in that movie. So it was a bad joke that Chris knew was a bad joke.
Yeah,
like, you have to carry yourself better. Bert, we've all been out with our wives, and we've had drinks, or we've been in a situation where somebody said something that we didn't like. If that was me, anytime I'm in that situation, the first person to grab my arm or to say something to me is Ashley. You know why?
Tell you not to do it.
Not to do anything, because she has my best interest at heart.
Correct.
Will Smith has been inclined for years to protect Jada. She has never, not once, protected him from himself. In fact, she is the cause of the turmoil.
Yeah.
Every time. It doesn't. It's so for me, I do get the idea of protecting your lady. Will was wrong here in the setting, but this is just more of her putting him in a bad situation and not taking responsibility for it. Then he puts out 24 hours later, puts out some BS apology. Didn't apologize during his speech where he was crying, justifying it, where Venus and Serena Williams still haven't returned his calls. They were extremely uncomfortable that they used their father's name. Richard Williams said, hey, that's bullshit. Like, we don't condone that. Like, Jim Carrey called him spineless.
Yeah.
Your reaction to things, and I'm the first person that says, hey, I'm okay with, hey, if somebody says something to you, go hit them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
when that Juwan Howard thing happened, you were just like, he swung for a reason. Like, it is what it is. And that was a legitimate reason. And look, going back to your point, like, I'm speaking on behalf of Germ's not saying alopecia isn't a real disease, because it is. What he's saying is
in the scope,
the individuals out there that are saying that it's like this, like, horrible, life-threatening, this thing that you would basically be overprotective of individuals with more terminal cancer and stuff like that. That's where he's drawing the line for two reasons. One, because yes, she may have announced that she had it. I didn't get that. I didn't know. I just figured she had, this was the look she was going for the Oscars. And I gotta be honest with you, I thought she looked really good.
Yeah,
really.
And she's been bald for a while. This is not new phenomenon. Now, if she had cancer, Bert, and Chris Rock made that joke, not that I would still condone it, but I would have been like, ooh, Chris, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a little,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a super common.
But in retrospect, and Chris Rock said it right. He's like, after he got slapped, he's like, over a GI and Jane joke, like, really, like a joke. And it's getting to the point now where, like, what is not, like, I get it. There's always been this war on comedy. I still think it was an overreaction by Will Smith completely. And here's why. If my wife was struggling with alopecia and someone called her GI Jane, I'd laugh.
Yeah,
I would. Funny. But then I'd reassure my lady, like, listen, it's just a joke. You still look sexy as hell. Don't even worry about it. Like, you know, if I had a problem, I'd be the first one to be like, hey, maybe we should try to do something else. But I mean, granted, to your point, like, if she's really uncomfortable with the way she looks and how this disease is getting at her, go get a wig. And I know that seems shallow to say, but I say that as someone where if I'm uncomfortable, and this may be a horrible comparison and someone can, you know, chirp at me afterwards, but like, if I'm comfortable wearing like something I'm wearing, I just don't feel like I want to change. So I am comfortable. So I do feel more confident in what I'm doing when I'm going out. And I think that's what it is, but it's not like Chris Rock stood up there and called her like a C. Like, you know, the see you next Tuesday, or like said, yo, Jada, what's up, you stupid beat, like, or anything like that. That I think is more worth Will getting up and being like, yo, who are you talking to, than a GI Jane joke. And not to mention, the cameras pointed at him, saw him crack a smile and laugh, and then I guess he didn't notice until like Jada's eye roll or something, and then he calmly get up. That's kind of like psychopathic, to calmly get up and then just smack him knowing that it's Chris Rock. Now, Chris has said jokes like that years before, like over like when a lot of when was like Oscars So White was trending and noticing that there weren't a lot of black nominees, Will Smith and Jada came out and said, we're boycotting the Oscars this year. And Chris Rock had a joke on stage that year and said, Will and Jada boycotting the Oscars. He goes, that'd be like me. I'm paraphrasing. Good. That'd be me boycotting Rihanna's panties. He goes, I wasn't exactly invited, so how could I exactly boycott it? Because he wasn't nominated, or they weren't nominated for anything. So I don't know if it's just been built up over time, and it was just the fact that Chris said it, but it was just completely ridiculous.
But this is not the first time. Yeah, he's joked on them for years because they're friends. You know what I mean? And the friendship has to be over. Apparently they were. Like, that was why Chris Rock kind of let it happen on stage. Mike says it here. After Chris was slapped, he wanted to say more, but he took the high road. Chris Rock definitely was about to expose some like deeper, darker Hollywood secrets that we all know happens. But it's okay. Mike also says, don't talk about his baldness anymore, Bert. Listen, bald is sexy.
Oh yeah.
Jada also flaunts it. Like, that's the part that bothers me about the whole thing. It's like,
yeah, when I first heard him say the G.I. Jane, I was like, all right, cool. Like, hey, he's making like she's badass. She looks good. She's ready to go. But apparently she didn't take it well. So there has to be more to this to cause.
There's more to it.
There has to be. Otherwise, I mean, Will looks like a crazy, but yeah, the apology. I mean, you saw even the look on the Williams sisters' face when he's giving that god awful, inflated, and like
such a bullshit
speech. Like this vessel love bullshit and cry and like, look, I get it, like this is something that you wanted, that's fine, but you can't sit here and talk about how you want to spread love after you literally just smacked someone on stage, not only in front of a theater full of people, but to millions of homes being streamed to. So it was very weird. The Williams looked uncomfortable about it. They gave him a standing ovation. Denzel was in his corner too. Like, there's
Tyler Perry, Denzel. I get it. Like, I get the brotherhood thing, but like, he was sitting there like a female. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. Just sitting there, just barking at Chris Rock, and then he gets up, and that's a long walk. And that's why to me, the Juwan Howard one is more impressive, because Will Smith had time to think about it. He had the little wind up. Like, it was Juwan Howard had to navigate through people, and it wasn't like a wind up. He had to like pick his moment. Like, he had to go through a bunch of bodies, like an obstacle. Yeah, he had to like strike. So I think Juwan's was way more athletic. So I'm gonna rock with Juwan's. I think Jada was more upset that Will laughed first and then gave him a look to better do something. That speaks to what I said earlier, Frank. Frank Novick says that's her toxic. That's her being toxic and putting Will in a bad spot. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, he was in an open relationship too. We don't have any evidence of that. Only what he said after the fact that she got caught. Obviously, he has an inclination to protect her. So I'm not going to put it beyond Will Smith to say, hey, I was in an open marriage too, because he didn't actually outright say that. And if that was true, then why did she get on her platform and not even cop to the fact she had an affair and try to say it was an entanglement? If y'all have an open marriage, y'all have an open marriage. Then what was the point of the talk?
Yeah, I'll tell you what the point of the talk is: to get clicks, to get views, because someone didn't feel relevant anymore. Like, this is, I mean, the same reason, honestly, why we come out and say some of the shit that we say, but ours isn't exactly produced and staged. A lot of these are just feelings and things that we align with. But it is odd in the fact that if it was open and everybody had an agreement, why put it out there? Unless they thought it was an open agreement. Will got hurt, and she was like, you know what, I got this red table thing, and I need a new topic for this week instead of talking about, God knows whatever, because my family's not that interesting outside of Will, so why bother?
Yeah, Will Smith, lucky I wasn't up there. I would have punched him in the back of the head, because you're not going to just walk up and smack me and then just smoothly walk back and take your seat. Nah, dog. Like, I'd beat Will Smith's ass. Like, there would be a fight. There would be something going on.
People would have to come and separate you guys. Yeah.
There's no way I'm just
if Will Smith smacked me, I'd probably be on that floor. Like, I don't. Chris Rock took that like a champion. I don't know what,
and then did his job.
Like, it could have been fingertips. It could have been nothing. I'm more concerned with the fact that all they did was cut away audio when they were yelling, like cursing back and forth, and nobody from production staff to like anything else decided to say, hey, we got to cut away. We don't know where this can lead. Go to something else and then see what's happening. They just played through it. Now, I don't know if that's because Hollywood is weird, so everybody thinks everybody else is in on a bit without telling producers. Or I didn't know if the producers secretly were just like, yo, this is going to help us get more ratings. Why not? Because people hate award shows now anyways. So it's very, man, Hollywood's weird.
It's such an overproduced show. I could buy the fact that they didn't even have a contingency for that, because it's such an overproduced show.
Yeah.
They didn't even think that they needed, like, hey, if something happens, and they're not just going to fade to black here. So it's like, I don't know. It's just, I just wanted to come in and laugh at it because it's at the crux. It's funny. The whole situation
so
is just
funny.
It's funny. And
I wonder what late night appearance Will's gonna make where he finally breaks down and cries and says he's sorry. If he needs to reflect and be such a vessel of love, you know?
Yeah. I mean, geez. Next time German and I disagree, I'm going to call it an entanglement. All right. So I'll talk to you tomorrow because we'll probably disagree about tomorrow. Irony of Will Curzon. There's actually a clip of Will Smith back on the Arsenio Hall show that made its rounds of him making fun of one of Arsenio's guests who had alopecia. And Will said, "Oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke," which is the irony that's the irony. So,
that was back then. You can't say stuff like that anymore, you know?
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Woke culture.
I can't believe Will Smith defended August Alsina's family like that. So it's crazy how he. Now we just spent the last 10 minutes shitting on Will Smith's personal actions, but that doesn't mean that he don't make some fire movies. And so me and Bert decided we're gonna do our Will Smith power rankings. We're gonna rate our top 4 because top 5s are overdone. We switched it up. We're gonna change the game. We're gonna give our top 4 Will Smith movies. Bert, for me, I'll go first. At number 4, I'm going to go Enemy of the State. The one with Gene Hackman. That role was originally supposed to go to Tom Cruise, and he passed it up. But I'm glad he did because Will Smith. That movie was great. It's like Black Hawk Down. You go back and watch it, and you see a bunch of these actors in there like you recognize from other stuff. So I'm going to go with Enemy of the State. Number 3 is iRobot. Not his greatest movie, but it's one of those movies I will watch every time it's on. I love iRobot. Number 2, I am going to go with Men in Black. 1, I don't count sequels here. The first Men in Black, classic movie. And number 1 for me, Bad Boys with Martin Lawrence, the original.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're very similar all around. I actually have number 4, iRobot for me, and I kept it on there because same thing. I'll watch that movie any single time that it's on. So I just gotta plug my computer real quick. But anytime it's on, I'll stop and watch it. I think the dude that plays Sonny, the Alan Tunick or whatever his name is, he does a lot of voices and stuff like that. But just Will Smith alone, you have young Shia LaBeouf in there. It's just an awesome movie. It's action packed. Why not? So that's number 4. Number 3 for me, I'm going with Men in Black. And again, I don't count sequels, the original, because him, Tommy Lee Jones, you got action, you got comedy. What more do you want? Number 2 for me was Bad Boys. That's another one where if it's on, I will.
It's a classic,
I will 100% watch it.
Classic,
the jokes, everything still sticks. It's just honestly, it is when you just definition of classic. Number 1, I'm putting the blockbuster movie that got his movie fame stardom, like that took him out of Fresh Princehood into just movie royalty, and that's Independence Day. I have to. It's just it's that good of a movie. It took him from, hey, I'm going to be on your, this TV every week to I'm going to be in this big screen with this big blockbuster movie, and just crushed it.
I did love him in The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, that was good too. Matt Damon.
It's a good movie, but I go by rewatchability when I do these power rankings. Like
there's a lot of for Bagger Vance,
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of movies that he does that I enjoyed. I even enjoyed that Netflix movie, the weird one,
Bright.
Bright. I enjoyed that.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I Am Legend is good too.
I Am Legend almost made my list. Like I said, I couldn't put that above. Maybe if we did a top 5. Pursuit of Happiness, good. Ali. I liked Hancock.
It's more dramatic stuff like Concussion. I thought it was a good movie. Obviously based on a true story. And a lot of people thought he was going to get an Oscar for that one too. But even like 7 Pounds, that's the fucking
7 Pounds is a good movie. Underrated Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people that actually watch that, but if you haven't watched 7 Pounds,
it's heavy.
It's heavy. It's real heavy.
Get
the Kleenexes out. And obviously you have like Ali. Ali was really, really good. It's just long.
Yeah.
But Jamie Foxx, all those guys did a really good job with that movie. It's just I wouldn't watch that over, like you said, Independence Day, which didn't make mine, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't rank. I wouldn't watch that over any of the movies that either of us picked. So
nah. So and anything with him and his kid in it is trash. Don't even bother. It's just awful.
Yeah, the After Earth, I wasn't a big fan of.
It was weird. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? I hated it the first time I watched it, and
Mm-hmm.
then I watched again because I think it was just on, and I was just like, let me watch it again. I did enjoy it. I think it was one of those.
I think you enjoyed it more
because
because it was one of those nothing to lose type moments where it was just like, I'm not wasting too much time watching this, but
I watched it like 5 years after it came out. Like it was like I watched it when it first came out, and then like 5 years later, I ended up watching it again, and I was like, this movie's probably a little ahead of its time. It was actually not that bad. I enjoyed it. I Am Legend.
I'll give it another shot then.
They're making another I Am Legend somehow with Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. I don't know why they're doing that, but
I don't know.
I'll probably watch it.
Yo, he's dope. Like let's be real. I love Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, just keep making Creed movies, man. Michael B. Jordan's the same guy in every movie. He's the same guy in every movie. It's unbelievable. He's the new Samuel L. Jackson. Like you're just the same dude. You just called somebody different.
Man, he's done some good action stuff. He's got some like comedy stuff. I'll watch him in anything. Why not?
Yeah.
Black Panther. I mean, he was good in that.
He was great in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Who you giving your game ball to?
Gotta give it to my man Albert Pujols, signing a 1-year deal to go back with the Cards. Where ultimately, I mean, he's just gonna. I'm assuming he's just gonna hang up his glove and retire a Cardinal.
Yeah, there's got to be like no pressure. You know, I think he's gonna have a really good season, and I think it sucks that they're doing this universal DH thing now. Because I think if he didn't have to put all those miles on his body of the last several years, he could probably still play. I don't know, you know, if as long as you can hit, man. That's the other reason why I like the universal DH rule. It gives these guys a little longer career, but I think it's a little too late. I think he's past the expiration date for that, but there's something good about going back home for a last hurrah. It reminds me of when Allen Iverson, after his stints in Memphis and Detroit and some of these other places, and he finally came back to Philly for a year, and then finally retired. I felt really good about that. So and then we started tanking. So I mean, it was all good, but it just felt right to see. It feels right. It's got to feel really good for those St. Louis fans. My game ball is going to go to the wife of Jim Thome, Andrea Thome. After the Deshaun Watson press conference, she decided, hey, I've had enough. And she canceled her season tickets, and the Browns gave her a full refund. And she basically said, listen, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying that he has 22 accusers. And his press conference was not satisfactory to me. And I don't want to be associated with that. Now, of course, she got these losers that are hating on her for making a decision for herself and her family. Jim Thome is fully supportive of her. Yeah. And that's cool, man. Come be a Buffalo Bills fan. We'll take we'll take you. I fully support. If you want to cheer for the Browns and cheer for Watson, good for you. If you decide that's not the lane you want to be in, good for you. Make your own choice. I don't understand why people can't just let people make their own decisions. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's not the point of the internet.
That's true. All you fucking the burger flippers out there mad that you can only afford the nosebleeds. You're hating on Miss Thome for canceling her season tickets.
Yep.
I mean, geez,
like, get over afford. Yeah. Can't believe
get out of here
because he hates Deshaun Watson. Guess what? That's wealth.
Yep. It's wealth. All right. Keep your voice down when you type so feverishly from your mother's basement when you're hating on celebrities for doing what they feel is right. You know, nobody yells at you because you can't stock the soup cans correctly.
Hating on her for canceling the tickets because she thinks a sexual predator is playing for her favorite team, but will support Will Smith for smacking the shit out of Chris Rock over a G.I. Jane joke.
But they both were in an open relationship. Why? Because Will Smith said so? Yeah, Bill Cosby said that he wasn't drugging and raping those chicks, but guess what?